Walter Chrysler, the man and his machinery. He was a wide-eyed young man infatuated by machinery. Throughout his life, his willingness to learn was his greatest schooling, his day school, his adult education program, his university. A son of the bare plains of Kansas, Walter Chrysler refused to go to college after graduating from high school, dashing the hopes of his engineer father. Instead, he took a job in the Kansas engine yards as a sweeper for low-paying, workingman's wages. In the process, he learned about the novel, integral machines which long fascinated him. After his apprenticeship ended, he bounced around to different railroad jobs in the West. Before long, he had learned enough to become master mechanic of the expansive Chicago Great Western Railway. Then, he laid eyes on the automobile and supposedly dismantled and reassembled the very first one that he ever purchased. Ultimately, the hard work at the factories, and the insatiable curiosity for all sorts of engineering, paid off handsomely for Walter Chrysler. At his death, he was chairman of one of the greatest automobile empires in American history. From the Kansas plains to symbol of success. Born April 2, 1875, Walter Chrysler's father, Henry Chrysler, was a railroad engineer. Shortly after Walter's birth, the Chrysler family settled in the railroad town of Ellis, Kansas. From his earliest days, Walter was assigned a series of chores and expected to contribute to the family's well-being, from pitching in at fixing meals to milking cows. Chrysler wrote affectionately of his father and the memories he cherished of the two of them, the young boy walking side by side with Henry from the railroad yards, carrying the dinner pail. Occasionally, the boy was allowed to ride in the locomotive cab and with his father's permission. He would yank the whistle cord, smiling as it shrieked. A permanent love of mechanics and machinery developed in those tender moments. The older Chrysler, however, tried to steer his son away from a life of machinery, refusing to even enable an introductory apprenticeship for him. But Walter would not be diverted. He solicited and found menial work as sweeper and oiler in a machine shop. With gritty resolve, he worked his way up to the role of apprentice. The work only got more demanding and not much more lucrative, the scantest sum covering a taxing 10-hour day. But his youthful drive and vigorous sense of purpose triumphed over the challenging character of the work. He worked in the shops of the Santa Fe Railroad, at one point living in Wellington, Kansas. In his mid-20s, he returned briefly to Ellis before embarking on a new phase of life in Utah, where he was earning 30 cents an hour for a 10-hour day, but he had more ambition than ever. True to form, he never shied away from the simplest or most repetitive duties, and he was keen to learn every facet of working with machinery. He received one promotion after another and moved from one railroad job to another. Indeed, his intellect and ambition were rewarded with the elevated position of foreman of the shops, and, soon, his standing grew, and he was awarded a general foreman position in Colorado, and then a master mechanic job in Texas. When the Chicago Great Western Railway needed a general master mechanic, Chrysler was selected for the position. He thrived in the environment and was promoted to greater responsibility and bigger pay. His actions spoke volumes. Chrysler earned the respect of the machinists he worked with. Inquisitive, smart, and begrimed, he was one of them. He could work elbow to elbow with any man in the shop. He could pinpoint a busted element or some other problem and then saunter up to the front office and explain in both non-technical and technical terms precisely what was required. The executives liked him because he was efficient and shrewd and generated positive results. New Age of the Automobile. To read the full article, visit American Essence.